Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Austin. Today, I want to talk about the basic training mechanic in Call of Duty World War II. So the beta's out this weekend. I've been playing a ton of it. I think the first night I hit level 20, and right now I've been going through each of the divisions, trying to get that up to level 5. So I've been playing a lot of the game. Overall, I enjoy it. I really, really like it. I think that the changes to the created class put a lot more emphasis on your gun choice rather than your perk choice, which I like. It's a lot more bare bones. It's a lot more gritty, which I guess is exactly what they're going for, right? I like the division system, which I compare a lot to the way that Battlefield does it with, you have a medic, you have a sniper, you have this, that. And for the most part, I like that balance. Where it starts to lose me is in basic training. And so in the beta, there are 10 basic training ribbons, I guess. 10 basic trainings, I guess. They're not really perks anymore. Basic training perks, sure. Let's call them that for the time being. And you can only pick one, kind of going along with that bare bones thing. But the fact that there are 10 of them, it's very reminiscent of how Ghost did things, in that Ghost had something like 30, 40 perks, and they each had a different point value, and like some things, would only have a singular use. So when an enemy would look at you, your name wouldn't pop over your head, and the crosshair wouldn't turn red. That'd be a 1 point value thing. Whereas something, 5 points would be something, like that game's equivalent of Ghost. You don't show up on the UAV, you don't get hit by kill streaks, all that jazz. And what made having both of these perks in the game, one that's very, very not useful and one that's very, very useful, is that point value. That you could put on 5 1-point perks and be reasonably balanced with the guy who has one 5-point perk, if that makes sense. Right now, the problem that I'm seeing with basic training is that level of balance. That while some of these basic training perks are very, very useful, a lot of them, I don't think so. And I feel like they're more or less just filler and fluff to some of these other ones. So I'm gonna just read through them real quick. There are 10, so it's not too much. And I'll give you my opinion on each of them as they go. So first of all is launched. Take a launcher as a secondary and resupply it from enemies killed without explosives. So essentially, it's like in COD 4, you have a rocket launcher in your back, you can shoot down kill streaks. Good, I like that. That is a good perk. But then next is lookout, and that's enemy targets appear from further away and increased minimap coverage. Now, I've used this perk once or twice. To be honest, I didn't notice all that much of a difference. I feel like the game is moving so fast that while you do, of course, have to rely on your minimap, I feel like I'm not checking it as much. And maybe that's because it's circular again instead of, the rectangle, which, that's actually one thing that I really, really enjoyed about the futuristic Call of Duties. And, the last couple is the minimap was so big. And it seems like Lookout really doesn't do too much, or at least not to the degree at which, some of these other perks do, if that makes any sense. That probably didn't make any sense, but I'm going to continue on anyway. I feel like it doesn't do enough. Next is Forage, which is resupply bullets from killed enemies and swap weapons faster. That to me seems like a just completely useless thing. So resupplying bullets from killed enemies, maybe it's just because it's the beta and everyone's using the same like 6 guns, but if I run out of ammo, I can easily pick up another gun and use it. Unless I'm mistaken and I've been using Forge this entire time when I've been picking up guns, it's not like this perk is the only thing that lets you pick up guns or anything. It's just, I guess when you run over any body, you get bullets back. Sure, I guess that might be useful for some people, but I feel like not nearly as useful as any of the other stuff I'm going to get to in a second. And then with that is swap weapons faster, which, okay, I guess is a thing, but it's also, it feels like a part of a perk rather than an entire thing. So next is Hustle, and that's reload faster and while sprinting. So essentially this is sleight of hand. This I think is useful. I think this is very good. What I would do if I were Sledgehammer, I would take swap weapons faster and put that in with Hustle just to bring it up to snuff. Make it, a more viable option. And then maybe put the resupply bullets from Forage somewhere else. Let's see as we keep going. Next is Rifleman, and that's to take 2 primary weapons and to swap weapons faster. Honestly, that's a good perk. I didn't realize until just now reading this that swap weapons faster is on both this one and on Forage. I would remove it from Rifleman and put it on Hustle. Just make Rifleman, it's overkill from COD 4, from from the Modern Warfare series. It's just you have 2 primary weapons. This is what I've been using a lot of in the beta. I think mainly just because I want to use as many guns as possible. Could change when the actual game comes out, or, you know, once I actually get to know all these weapons. But this right now is my go-to, simply because, like I mentioned, this class puts a lot of emphasis on your gun choice rather than your perks. That essentially here what you're doing is you're doubling your gun choice. You can have a sniper and a shotgun. You can have an M1 Garand and a PPSH. You have your long range and you have your short range. And if you put it on something like infantry where you have the one knife kill, you have really, really close quarter as well. And so essentially this perk to me doubles your usefulness, whereas some of these other ones like forage or lookout really doesn't do too much. Duelist is to take 2 attachments on a secondary weapon, which to me when compared to overkill, it seems not at all equal. In one hand you have a second weapon being thrown at you. On the other hand, you have a second attachment being thrown at you. A pistol attachment too. It doesn't seem equal at all. But at the same time, I haven't used the pistols all too much. I don't even think I've ever put Duelist on, because to me it seems kind of pointless when put up against Rifleman or Launched. So maybe putting 2 attachments on a pistol makes it very, very viable. But as of right now, with the 1 pistol that we have in the game, I'm not seeing much of a use for it. Next is Gunslinger, which lets you fire guns while sprinting and while diving. And now this is a good perk. We're starting to get into where I think that, you know, they get a little bit more balanced, but, you know, they're a bit more on the powerful end. I feel like it can be useful, or at the very least as useful as Rifleman. The next is Espionage, and that's where enemy score streaks and enemies you damage appear on the minimap. So that's essentially Recon from MW3. That's where I know it. I'm sure it's been in other Call of Duty since. This has been a perk that to me has been completely useless. I find that if I'm shooting at an enemy and he, you know, runs away and you know, to the point where I can't find them, if I look up at my radar in order to be like, okay, hang on, that red dot, all right, where is it exactly? By the time my eyes make it up to that radar, I'm already shot because the guy's peeked his head up. I feel like it only leads to more death. And to me, it was always one of those perks like Scrambler in MW2, where it's just like, no one's gonna use this. It's only a hindrance, if anything. And so I don't think it stands up against something like Hustle or Launched, Rifleman, Gunslinger, any of those. Then there's Requisitions, which is score streaks do not reset on death, but cost more and can only be earned once. Excuse me. That one I think is a good perk. That's one of the other ones that I run constantly. And then next is Bang, which lets you take an extra tactical and Mark II fragmentation lethal. Just so essentially, just you take an extra tactical and you have and you still have your frag grenade. I think that is very, very good. I think that is very well balanced. Because in this game you can really only have one, unless you have this perk on, in which case it lets you have 2. But again, when you compare that perk and Requisitions to Espionage or to Duelist or to Forage, it's just like, why would you pick Forage or Lookout even? I feel like some items on this list are just kind of there to be there in order to make it seem like you have a lot of choices, but in reality you don't. And part of this could be because you can only choose one. Maybe if you could choose 2, you know, you could put on Rifleman, which lets you take 2 primary weapons, and Duelist, which lets you put 2 attachments on your secondary weapon. And then, you know, at that point you have 2 weapons with 2 attachments, you know, so you can combine them like that. I think that is a very powerful combination. Something like Hustle and Gunslinger, that kind of, they're both about speed and they're both about just shooting while moving. That, you know, that I think could be a very powerful combination. Or even things that don't quite combine to make a mega perk sort of thing, but are just 2 good, you know, attributes to have. Like Launched, so you can take down kill streaks, and Requisitions, so you can continue to get your own kill streaks without having to worry about getting shot while shooting down the other stuff, because your kill streaks won't reset upon death. But I can see why they don't put 2 basic trainings on there. I think because, again, they're going for something that is weighed way more in the direction of your gun choice versus your perk choice. And I completely understand that, and I can completely get behind that. But what you have right now feels very not taking one side or the other. You have certain perks that are very, very powerful, and then you have certain perks that are very, very useless. And I almost feel like you gotta pick one. Be very, very useless perks and put everything into the divisions, or be very, very powerful perks and, you know, and have less of them, essentially. Or make it so that we can have two. So that's essentially what I would change about basic training, going off of the World War II beta. There is also one other thing that I would change, and that is there is no Ghost Perk. The closest thing we have to that is under the Mountain Division. One of the unlocks you can get is to be invisible from radar. My problem is you can't be invisible from radar and equip a suppressor, because suppressor is something unique to the Airborne Division, meaning that I can't be a ghost if I want to. And that is, I mean, maybe it's hitting close to home, because to me, ever since, you know, Black Ops and even parts of MW2, I would sacrifice having stopping power just for, you know, UAV jam or whatever, was it Cold-Blooded in MW2, so that I could go under the radar with a suppressed scar and no one knows I'm there and take people out silently. That's the way that I always enjoyed playing. I'm not a fan of turning the corner and someone already knows I'm there because they have a UAV up. And to kind of restrict that playstyle while also including in basic training things like Hustle and Gunslinger, which seem to aid the lightweight, you know, rusher tactic, but not really the off-the-radar, you know, ghost tactic, seems a little unfair to me. But, you know, that's me. That's my opinion. I'd love to know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Be sure to like if you enjoyed, subscribe, and hit that little bell if you want to be notified every time that we upload. Yeah, and that's about all I have to say for today. Again, let me know what you guys think down you know, in the comments about basic training and about the divisions, you know, in general. Like I said, really enjoying World War II beta thus far. I'm sure as the weekend goes on, there's going to be much more to both rant and rave about, and also to complain about and criticize. But you know, that's what the beta is, I suppose. So yeah, I will see you guys when I see you guys. So see you guys. Peace.